Hello, everyone. It's your girl, Nicole Ryan with Lana Solutions, your finance advocate. This show is called Debt Diva because we help people cut debt in all areas, all financial service, everything. Right here in the heartland, you guys. I have Irene Tryon back on the show. I always call her tax guru because that's who she is to me. But I am going to allow her today to introduce herself to you, to let you, the viewers, know why I have this lady on the show yet again. It is tax time, and I'm going to assume this is airing around the month of love, but I want you guys to know that tax time is year-round. So without further ado, Irene, thanks for coming back.
Well, thanks for having me. Yes, it's good to be back.
Talk to us today. Tell the viewers who Irene is.
Okay. Well, Irene is one of those people where if you need something and you're afraid to ask, but you know you need it, she'll figure it out.
Indeed.
Yes. I am one of those people where I have a lot of clients who come to me that just haven't done their taxes in a long time, and they feel fearful or they feel ashamed and really don't want anyone to know their business. Right. And, you know, we are highly confidential, highly confidential. But more so, it's not about making you feel little or small, but it's really all about me talking to them, finding out why they haven't had their taxes done, and then figuring out the best way based on their personality and their style and things that they do in their lives. How can we get it done?
Right.
And how can we move forward and find some type of way to be consistent and stay on top of things.
Definitely.
So I'm one of those people where, you know, I just don't judge at all.
Right.
You know, it's just really about how can I help you?
Definitely.
So yes, that's me.
That is, and it is, you guys. I've worked with Irene for a number of years, and I send the majority of my clients to Irene. And the reason I do that is because, one, she is a people person. And a lot of clients that we see, even if it's just for a conversation, there's fear. There's a lot of fear there. And one thing you'll find out when you sit down with someone like Irene or myself with regards to financial everything, you know, professionals in tax, but definitely financial services for everything, you would truly find just another human being on the other side of the table, really wanting to get to know you and your whole scenario, not just bits and pieces of it to help you make the right decision and share the resources that we have here in Omaha, Nebraska. So since we're talking about taxes though, and this lady right here, anytime I refer people over to talk to you, to help them figure out what they're doing or where they're going, I always tell them, not only have you done taxes for over 45 years, but you have developed software and have gotten to like the nuts and bolts around the framework and structure of taxes. And a lot of people don't know that about you and your husband. And because of the love that you have for people and giving us the peace of mind around financial services and taxes and business and all that, talk to us a little bit about that when you have the average Joe that would like to just use TurboTax. I don't want you in my business. I want to do my little personal stuff right here, and nothing shying away from TurboTax, but help us with those folks that unfortunately we see a lot of them where they've made a lot of errors, but they're scared because they don't want people in their business. What would you tell them just to enlighten our local community, even right here in Omaha, Nebraska, why it's a good idea for, like you said on the last show, second look when we were wrapping up?
Yeah. What I would say to that though, there's nothing wrong with, you know, just doing some software online. Just keep in mind, you know, you have AI that is really out there to gather your information. And, you know, you think it's free, but it's not free. They sell your information. Everything about you is just out there in the open. And in our business, my husband is IT.
Yes.
And he's definitely about cybersecurity and all of that. And so we've been working together for 25 years,
Yes.
you know, in business together. And because of that, you know, keeping your clients' information, you know, confidential and secure and behind firewalls and all that is so important.
Right.
But more so sharing that information, you know, that's where you see, as with, you know, identity theft and some of those other things that you probably face when you're helping people with their
Oh,
credit.
definitely.
And one other thing is just, you know, do you really know what you're doing? You know, when you're just pushing buttons and answering questions, do you really know what your tax situation really looks like?
Right.
And if you don't really know,
Right.
and you're just looking to push buttons to see your numbers grow,
Which we do.
which
Let's
is
be
about that
honest.
refund. Oh, okay, if I do this, I noticed that I got more money. When I did this, I
Indeed.
got more money. So as they continue to get used to that software that's helping them get larger refunds,
Come on.
some of the problems that I'm starting to see is the audits.
Yeah.
So when you get audit, you have no paper trail, no reason why I did anything that I did do. And also, you know, just to mention about the refunds, even when it turns out that you owe a lot of money,
Right.
you know, you need to be questioning, why do I owe this? And now you don't want to use the software anymore because it's saying that you owe a lot
Because now
of
it's
money.
saying you owe.
But you really should seek a professional. You really
Right.
should seek professional help, because that second look is important, but it's also important just to know if you're on the right track. You know, we don't charge a lot to take a second look, but it's more
Competitive.
so.
Your prices are good.
Yes. And I think it's more so, you know, trusting. You know, you need to trust someone else that has been doing it for a long time and know what they're doing.
Right.
And can spot those things.
Definitely.
Yes, it's very important.
It is. And so what Irene is saying in a nutshell is that you have to make sure, like I say on this show every time, get wisdom and understanding around your finances. And tax is just one piece of it, but a very large piece that can cost you or can teach you and put you in a position to build wealth. A lot of people don't look at taxes like that, but taxes is one of those number one things that if you really learn and understand the way it flows, it can be a great investment tool for your whole wealth portfolio. And being able to understand just a little bit what you're doing. I always tell you guys, when you're eliminating debt or you're doing taxes or anything financial, it's understanding it. And I know we have, you know, we live in a society now where everything is kind of push, go. But there's certain things when you're signing your John Hancock, you need to understand what you're signing, especially now with AI. We need to make sure, because I go through so many contracts. A lot of my work is going through contracts, trying to work with clients to find loopholes to save them money and help them get out of situations they should have never got themselves into. But if we take the time and we read the 64-page document, you know, whether it's homeowners insurance, life insurance, you know, divorce decrees. I mean, I've dealt with all these contracts. We need to really read what we're understanding. Then when we get a $40,000 bill from filing divorce with an attorney, we're not crying and we're not upset, because if you would have took the time to really read what your tax professional or your CPA was doing for you, hey, I am a CPA, but I am an accountant at heart, not a tax professional. I have enough tax professional credits where I can file your taxes like a tax professional, if you're listening to me, you guys. But then you got tax professional, tax accountants who from sun up to sundown for over 45 years have been working in the tax industry. And if anyone knows anything about taxes, there's millions of laws, and there's no way any of us can know them all. So why wouldn't you want someone you can just sit down with who's going to either partner you up with people that are in the nonprofit piece of it that can help you when you don't have the money to pay, or even when you do have the money to pay, get you the resources to work with them if you choose to. But at the end of the day, get wisdom and understanding and get advice. And organizations like Lana Solutions, IT Tax Solutions, and so many more offer courses too, where you can sit down and learn business tax, and you can sit down and learn tax, personal tax and individual tax, and so on and so forth. So I guess I want to get into our questions because I don't want to not ask these before our time wraps up. But then I'm going to be honest with you, Irene. I'm going to give you the floor because I just want you to continue to shed some of that plus 45 years of experience or whatever kind of nudges you as we go. So we talked a little bit about this, but now for you, the viewers, I'm going to ask Irene, many people rely on tax refunds to catch up on bills. What are the biggest mistakes that can delay a refund, and how can they avoid them? They've filed taxes with you, and now they're like, Irene, where's the refund? Refund ain't came yet, Irene. What's going on with the refund? So what's resonating with you? What are the biggest mistakes that can delay that?
Well, there's a lot of delays. A lot of times it depends upon if you're doing it yourself. You know, you're using some of the software, free software to do it yourself. AI or the staff or the red flags, you know, it will delay your refund.
Okay.
If they find that there's a mistake there.
Okay.
You know, sometimes a husband and wife situation, a divorce situation, a separate situation, or anything where there's dependents.
Okay.
Sometimes the dependents try to be claimed on both tax returns.
Okay.
And then most softwares will say, hey, this will not go through because this Social Security number has already been used before.
Okay.
Sometimes, depends upon the software, it won't catch that.
Oh, wow.
So that refund will get delayed because now it's hands-on.
Okay.
It's hands-on in the IRS office, and they have to say, hey, why is this number being reported twice or attempted to be reported twice?
Right.
And then you get into the investigation of prove that this dependent lived with you for more than 6 months and you provided that support. And it goes on and on where you have to actually submit that paperwork to prove that you have the right to claim that dependent.
Okay.
And it's not just children. It can be someone elderly. It could be someone that you're taking care of.
Okay.
And you really don't understand all the laws.
Right.
But that tax return created a refund. And now I'm ready for my money. Where is it?
Where is it at?
And the second part of that, Nicole, is I like to encourage people that if you're going to wait till the end of the year to get your refund, why not do what it needs to be done? Do those things that you need to do to get your money every month through your paycheck.
Okay.
So if you understand what your tax liability is,
Okay.
if you know where your tax bracket is, you know how much should be coming out of your check.
Right.
The whole point of what the IRS wants us to do, or I should say the system is designed for us to break even. It's not about the refund and giving you money back.
Right, right.
You get money back because you overpaid your taxes.
Come on. Teach
So
us.
if you don't overpay your taxes and you break even, that means you kept that money all year in your pocket.
A whole year
So
with no return on your investment.
That's right. So
Wow.
why allow the IRS to have all this money ahead of time and not paying you interest? And then people have the same attitude when it comes to, I have to pay taxes. Why should I pay estimated taxes when, well, you don't have to pay estimated
Come on,
taxes.
teach us.
You could, at any point, save that money, set it aside. And if you owe at the end of the year, you have it.
There you go.
You know, I know the savings accounts don't really pay that, a lot in interest.
Yeah.
But, get with someone that
You
that
can
you trust with
invest it
investments.
for that year.
And figure that out. But the main thing is, how can you avoid mistakes is just get with a tax professional.
Yep.
Even if you do have a refund coming back,
Yeah.
you should make sure that someone know
Yeah.
that it's a legitimate refund.
Yeah.
I have a case study to share with you.
Okay, please.
So recently I had a client who was expecting a $16,000 refund.
Whoa.
And went to a tax professional, someone that was trusted. And it turns out that this person was involved with a system of other people that were getting these refunds. So what I would say about that is just make sure you know who you're dealing with and who you're working with. And the person said, okay, I never got the refund, but I got a letter from the IRS saying, I need to know how you arrived at this. And just doing some of the math would have said, this don't look right. Wow. But it also resulted in this person having to pay the tax professional half of what the refund was. So it's like, it's just unrealistic. It really is. So if
it's happening.
It's happening.
Yes.
There's a lot of fraud out there, even with tax preparers that are supposed to be professionals.
Yes.
And when we speak about 45 years. I started doing taxes when I was very young.
I know you told
You know, and yeah, and just doing that, I read the books, you know, I ran the manuals, I read what I needed to read, but it's a lot out there, a lot of laws, a lot of rules. So it's like staying in your lane. You know, I stay in my lane, I stay comfortable with the types of problems and situations that come along so that I can always be aware of it.
Right, right.
But I think for most people, when it comes to those refunds, just be aware of who's doing your taxes,
Yes.
number one.
Uh-huh.
And number two, just making sure that you understand if it's an earned income credit or any situation like that where
Right.
you have dependent credit,
Right.
make sure you are entitled to it.
Definitely.
And there won't be mistakes.
Come
You know,
on.
things will flow the way they need to flow.
That's
And
what
then
I
what do
like
you
to
do
hear.
with your refund at the end of the year?
Come on.
You know, that's something I heard you talk about before.
Yes,
you know,
indeed.
the investments, or I want to buy
That's
that
huge.
car. And have you noticed there's a lot of places now that's doing taxes for you
Car lots, car dealerships.
all the time.
Yep, they
Why
will
do you think
hire
that's happening?
a tax professional
Yeah.
to come in around this time
Yeah.
to get their money for this depreciating asset.
Yes. So, you know, just be smart about the refunds, and if you are entitled to it, just make sure that there won't be any mistakes by
Yeah.
just checking those boxes.
Come on. I love it.
Yeah.
Thank you. We'll get into our next question. I have for small business owners and side hustlers, what are some commonly overlooked tax deductions that could save them money?
Yeah, that's my lane
Come
there.
on.
That's my lane there. I specialize in 1040 Schedule Cs, helping small business owners. And even if they have questions, they can come and, you know, sit down with me, chat with me for 15 minutes, do a Zoom meeting. I've been doing a lot of Zoom meetings this year.
Yes.
Just, you know, asking those typical questions about business and what they should do and what deductions they can take. So over the last 25, 30 years, we developed a software that will help 1040 Schedule C filers figure out what their deductions are.
Yes.
And I use this software within my office for years.
Yes, yes.
Tested it out, know that it's proven.
Oh my goodness.
So in doing that, I finally got an opportunity to launch the program.
Awesome.
And our launch date is set for January 31st. So I'm very excited about it because, you know, the deductions that people have questions about, you can actually see that if I want to use a supply, how does that relate to my business? And those answers
And
are
we
there. So it's more
need it.
educational
We need it.
than anything else.
That's it.
So those expenses that people try to claim that it's not relevant to their business, you know, that's where people tend to make
Help
the
us.
most mistakes. You
Right.
know, I have a car, I drove my car,
Right.
you know, like the side hustlers, you know, delivery services.
Heck yeah.
We actually put a little special piece in there for them to help them to be able to track their mileage.
Oh, I love
Because
it.
it's really confusing sometimes, but I think when you go to someone that will give you that knowledge, and we do offer some classes and some courses.
Indeed.
But at the same time, when you get that knowledge, you're like, oh, wow. You look back at some taxes that you filed,
Yes.
and you realize, I didn't do that. You know, I made a mistake. So how is that going to look going forward?
Yes.
Should I fix it? Should I go back?
Yeah.
Could I've gotten money back? Could I have, you know, not paid as much taxes?
Right, right.
So it's always that option of looking back and saying, what did I do with those deductions? And another one would be the entertainment.
Okay.
They took that away. IRS took it away for various reasons, but at the same time, we don't understand that we can't just spend thousands and thousands of dollars entertaining our clients and
Right.
then want to write it off.
Right.
So those are red flags, but at the same time, there are some that are legitimate. You
Yes.
know, if you decide that you want to host a dinner
Yes.
for your clients, you know,
Yes.
that's legitimate, and that's a legitimate expense.
That's beautiful.
So yeah, is there any particular ones that you think you see out there that people may want to know about? Or
I think the biggest thing with like the small businesses and stuff like that, just for our viewers, I would say if you, and I wasn't even thinking about this, but just as even a side note, you can catch Irene and myself with Grow Nebraska Business Women Center on Wednesdays from 10:30 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the Commonwealth Building. Now, there is a program called Bell, and it's set up for small business owners where you can come through and you can get free advice. Now, keep in mind, it's free. And whether you go to IT Tax Solutions website or my website, we'll make sure we have all of this available for you, or Grow Nebraska Women Business Center. Every single Wednesday, there's several people that will be there that can kind of lead and guide you in taxes, finances, accounting, what have you. But back to you, when you asked me a question about deductions and different things, I think the biggest one for me I would ask you about would be charity. Because I'm finding now people are going different directions to even do charity. Because I assume that with the charity donations, and I'll let you answer that, if you have a small business owner who's doing itemized deductions, how does that play a part? How does that help if I want to donate to my church or to United Way?
Yeah, that's big. And I have had clients recently that didn't really quite understand how that works.
Yeah.
So you have to look at, number one, what your standard deduction is. So if your standard deduction is too high and it doesn't allow you to itemize, and you have paid into all year, contribute, that money is gone.
Yeah.
You contributed, thankful.
Yeah.
And, and you gave to the community, and you have to just be able to be all right with that.
Right, right.
I have had clients that said, I have given, $15,000, $20,000 to my church.
Come on.
Well, the married filing joint, if it's $25,900 for a standard deduction, and you don't have enough, if you're not buying a home or some of those things that are on a Schedule A.
Right.
Schedule A is a form that you use to itemize these deductions.
Okay.
And so there's certain things that you can actually add up, some of your medical bills, but it's going to be like 7.5% of whatever that is.
Right.
Not the whole thing.
Got it.
And then you have the real estate taxes, the mortgage interest, and then the biggest thing is your donations.
Right, right.
Your goodwill donations and so forth.
Right.
So if you have those things, first of all, you just need to know, do I qualify to itemize?
Right.
And if you don't, then no.
Yeah.
You've done that and it's gone.
Definitely.
There's rumors around that all that's going to be changing very soon.
I believe it.
You have to have a letter. I do want to mention that because I do have clients that says, okay, this is how much I gave, and here's my check stubs.
Right.
In my carbon checks, or can I bring
paper trail?
Paper trail.
Okay.
Right. Can I bring a bank statement?
Okay.
To show this is what I did.
Okay.
If you ever get audited, you have to have the bank statement and the check proving that it went through the bank.
See, did you hear that, you guys? If you ever get audited, you need the bank statement and the check.
Yes.
You have to have proof.
Show that check actually cleared.
But I've noticed over the years, you're real good with the making sure the paper trail, you have that, what's the app you have now that helps people download a bunch of stuff?
Oh, that's a secure app that we have.
Yes. Could you tell us about that
So we use a secure app. It's a portal that we use, and it's behind the wall. So when you go to IT Tax Solutions and you say, yes, you want to get your taxes done, or you want us to start the process, we will send you a secure link.
Yes.
And you're able to fill out a tax organizer, which will gather and collect personal information. It allows you to upload your W-2s and 1099s and those things to keep it private and safe. And then it gives us also an opportunity to see if you're missing anything else. We have checklists and things there. So it's really have worked out, especially when we switched to a hybrid model, where the weather got bad and we were doing remote taxes as well as coming into the office.
Yes, and I love that.
Yeah, and then I have clients that move away. Sometimes it's like, okay, I'm going to be moving, but yes, I don't want to go nowhere. And we have a very high retention rate. Right now, I think it's 97%. It's
97%.
Yes, that stays with us, and it's about relationships.
It's about relationships.
It's about not just helping, but like you said, educating and getting people to understand, their life.
What am I doing here?
And what is it all about? And strategies that we can come up with to lower your taxes.
Yes.
Yeah. And and then we have Another software that we talked about earlier was Max, where that's going to help you with your deductions if you have a business. And it's MAKS when I say Max. So just being able to use that tool by itself, you'll be able to kind of follow and know what your deductions are, what your expenses are. And it also has a grant management tool in it. So, you know, those grants that a lot of people, they receive grants.
They don't know what they're doing.
And they had to decide on, okay, what should I write off? Well, you have certain expenditures that you can actually write off. And not write off, but you have to show them that you spent this money in those categories. And so that tool helps you to just keep track of those things.
That's beautiful.
Because
those have deadlines and stuff too sometimes, don't they?
That's
amazing. So there's a lot here, you guys. We're getting down to the end of the show, but I am definitely going to let Irene wrap things up, and just if you could tell us, you know, one thing as we get ready to wrap this show up, and with the tax season being here yet again and the windows closing slowly, what would you have the community of Omaha, Nebraska and the surrounding areas do?
I would say if you are in a situation where you cannot afford to get your taxes done by a tax professional, check with Nicole and myself or Grow Nebraska. You can come to Grow Nebraska on Wednesdays. I will answer your tax questions. We're trying to keep it at 15 minutes you know, per person, but I will answer your tax questions. And just get as much knowledge as you can about it. Things are going to be changing very rapidly when it comes to taxes. It's not going to go away to where we won't never have to ever file, but I'm really concerned about the business community, you know, being able to know that it's okay to make the money and you should make the money, but don't be afraid about having to pay those taxes.
It's a tax liability.
So just get those resources and don't be afraid to ask those questions so that paying taxes don't be a burden. You know, and I had a couple say that came to Grow Nebraska, was like, oh, we feel so much better, you know, we don't have that stress. And I just seen the look on, you know, everyone's face when they said that. It was like, what? You actually just feel good about it? And that made me feel good.
Because you are absolutely amazing.
Well,
and with
you.
that being said,
thank you.
Irene Tryon, IT, tax, and business solutions, and so much more, you guys. So you'll have both of our information. Grow Nebraska, you can always go to irs.gov if you really want to get into a deep dive and study different subjects. But a lot of resources out here for all of us. Don't be afraid to dive in. I would give a shout out to so many organizations right now, it would be too much. Maybe I can get it in the credits, but please join us again. It's your girl, Nicole Ryan with Lana Solutions. On this show, your dead diva, but always your finance advocate. Bye.